All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about linear progression, what it is, and who it can help. So for me, this is something I use for not only myself, but for my clients. And a lot of my clients, I always start them on linear progression. It is the easiest thing you can do as a beginner. It's so straightforward that it would be impossible to start making progress. And it is the smartest way to do it because you are calculated about everything you're doing in the gym. If you're going to the gym, you should have a goal. Right? And to get to a goal, you need to have a plan. So linear progression is going to be your plan as a beginner or even an intermediate level lifter. It allows you to calculate everything. So if you're a beginner in the gym and you haven't been recording any of your lifts yet, you need to start writing down and tracking everything you're doing. And linear progression is a great way to just start getting yourself in that habit. But the biggest thing is always tracking your lifts. And what's so motivating about linear progression is that you're going to know what weight you should be trying to hit on each lift week after week. So if you're somebody who's been going to the gym and you just haven't been seeing any progress, there's a high probability that you're probably not even tracking your lifts or you're not on a set program. Guys, so I don't want to waste too much time going over my background history, but I've been lifting since 4th grade naturally. So by 20 years old with this program, I was able to bench press 355 pounds and squat and deadlift 500. Okay, you don't need to be on steroids to get jacked and strong as fuck, guys. Okay, but it is going to take time and patience. Okay, if you try to rush the process, you're just going to get hurt. Been there, done that. I used to be that kid that lived life in the fast lane. I wanted everything fast, lifted with my ego, and I constantly hurt myself. And guys, one thing you have to remember is the strongest lifters are the ones that can stay in the game the longest, injury-free. So don't be like me, lifting with an ego. Be better, okay? You can achieve amazing results just by looking at a longer-term time frame. All right, guys, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into it so you can start applying this to your fitness journey right away and start seeing progress. So the fundamental movements of linear progression or most programs are bench press, squat, deadlift, overhead press. I know some people aren't going to have access to a barbell. Like if you lift at Planet Fitness, maybe there's a Smith machines. I know that some Planet Fitnesses are starting to get free weights. But anyways, just supplement these with a different movement. Bench press, do a chest press machine or dumbbells. Squat, you could do leg press. Deadlift, do some kind of dumbbell RDL or dumbbell deadlift. You can do a back extension machine, but it's not going to be as good as doing some kind of hinge movement. And overhead press, I would use a barbell if you have access to that. Otherwise, use dumbbells or a machine. So I'm going to keep this really simple. A lot of trainers set up their linear progression differently. It just depends on what you and your goal is. This is what I found has worked best for myself and my clients and just basically works for just about anybody's goal, right? The goal is to change your physique, so put on muscle in the areas that you want and obviously get stronger, right? So what I have mine set up into the first block. It's 3 blocks, right? Week 1 through 4 is basically hypertrophy. And basically that week 5 through 12, that last 8 weeks is basically more of a strength block. You're still going to put on size. And basically what it is, I'm just going to keep it very simple, not overcomplicate this. So weeks 1 through 3, you're going to do 4 sets of 8. You're going to be doing the main lifts, right? So bench, you're only doing bench on Monday, right? Squat on Tuesday, Wednesday off, deadlift Thursday, overhead press Friday, right? So example, Monday, bench press. You're going to do 4 sets of 8 for week 1. Let's say you're doing 135. You're doing 135 for all 4 sets of 8. You're not changing the weight. You're not going lighter. You're not going heavier. You're going whatever you can comfortably do 4 sets of 8 with, leaving some in the tank. You're not going max effort here. You want to feel like you have room to improve. By the 3rd week, you should almost be kind of struggling to get all 4 sets of 8. But if you don't have a spotter, I wouldn't go crazy. Like obviously make sure by that 3rd week, you're still able to get the 4 sets of 8. Just play it safe. If you ever feel like you might fail and you're hitting rep 7 on your 4th set and you don't think you can get that last 8th one, just rack the weight. It's not worth getting hurt or anything like that. But anyways, so week 1, you would do 135 on bench for all 4 sets of 8. Week 2, you do 140 pounds for 4 sets of 8, all 4 sets of 8. And week 5, you do 145 pounds for 4 sets of 8. Okay? And then by that 3rd week, obviously, you're going to be almost reaching max effort. You put a lot of stress and strain on your muscles, joints, tendons, your nervous system. So that's when you're going to have a deload week, week 4. So this is going to let you to have a little bit more active recovery. You're going to lighten the amount of weight you're using. You might even change up the exercises. You might step away from all of these lifts. So instead of doing barbell bench, Maybe you'll just focus on doing push-ups, other kind of machines, accessory work, dumbbells, whatever, just going lighter, just getting blood flow to all the muscles. And basically what these graphs show are over time, obviously you're increasing the intensity, right? As I said, you're increasing the intensity, which is the load, the weight you're using for each lift. And as intensity, the amount of weight you're using increases, the volume has to decrease because of the strain it puts on your body and nervous system, right? So you're going to notice force is at 8, 4 times 8, 32 reps. You're getting 32 reps in total. But when you switch over to the strength blocks, week 5 through 7, you're going to do 5 to 5. So it's going to be 25 reps total instead of 32, right? So again, same principle. Say you ended with 145 pounds on the bench press for week 3 on the forces to 8. So week 5 through 7, you're going to probably start with 150 or 155 pounds. Then the next week, 160. Then the following week, 165. So again, you're going to be probably reaching almost max effort. Then you're going to have another deload week, active recovery. That way your nervous system and body has time to recover. This, like I said, helps you prevent yourself from getting injured, allows your body to fully recover. And it's just like the safest way to go about it. Like I said, I've been injured too many times in my life, and you don't want the same to happen to you. You just want to, you're looking long-term longevity, because it doesn't even matter how much weight you lift, because if you get hurt, your quality of living just goes down if you just injure yourself. So just don't ever risk injury, guys. Just always be smart, because one workout will never change your life, right? No one workout is ever going to change your life. It's the compound effect of all those single workouts that add up over time to that goal that you're trying to get to. And then finally, week 9 through 11, 6 sets of 3. So you're going to be getting 18 reps total. So you're going to see it came from 25 reps total to 18 reps. And this is where you're going to really start to put on some serious strength, right? So same principle applies. Determine how much weight you're going to use and keep moving up by about 5 pounds each week. Be smart about it. Obviously, if you're starting to slip up on form, obviously dial it back. Dial back the weight if you have to. You're not always going to be able to move up in weight. I know it's called linear progression, but you know, there's a lot of life factors that go into it. You might be sick. There might be, you might have went through a lot of stress that week, or you didn't eat enough and your strength is going to just tank. So there's a lot of things that come into play. So you just got to listen to your body. And then by the time you get to week 12, it's another deload. And I have test your 1 rep max as an optional thing. Obviously, by testing your 1 rep max, sometimes you could risk injury. It depends on what your goal is, but always be smart, be conservative about it. Don't literally go till failure all the time, because you never know. You could tear something. People do tear muscles. I've actually torn my quad, not from maxing out, but from like overuse from working 60 hours a week while training. So shit happens, right? But anyways, by the end of this program, you're going to want to repeat, and you're going to start at a heavier weight the second time through. Okay, you're going to start at a heavier weight. So say you started at 135 pounds that first week of going through the program. Now, this second time going through the program, you're going to maybe start bench at 140 or 145 pounds. So you're going to be stronger by the time you come back around here. So you are going to be capable of doing another 5 to 10 pounds. But as I said, guys, always be smart. Listen to your body. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into how much strength you gain, genetics, how your nutrition, sleep, stress levels have been, all of that. But like I said, if you go through this program, even if you're a natural lifter, you will literally be impossible for you not to make progress, especially if you're still a beginner and you haven't been on anything structured. It would be impossible if you just followed this and you were smart about everything to not make progress, okay? Okay, I did leave one last thing out. So obviously these aren't the only lifts you're doing. So on bench day, obviously you're gonna have accessory lifts you follow it up with. You're not just gonna bench and then leave, right? There's exercises you can do, just look them up. Look up chest exercises, back exercises, tricep exercises. You can do that day too to follow up these. Same applies for the leg days. And just decide what you want to do. You can do 8 to 12 reps on those accessories. You know, you don't have to, like, you should track those, but you don't have to worry about always going up on those lifts. The most important thing is moving up on the main lifts. Okay, guys? But anyway, I hope that helps you guys. If you apply this to your training, I promise you it would be impossible for you not to make any kind of progress in the gym, like I said. I'd love for you guys to come back to the comment section, even if it was after only 2 to 3 weeks and you start noticing improvements in your physique and strength. I would love to hear about that in the comment section, guys. I'm going to have more videos like this coming out, so stay tuned, like, subscribe, comment, and I hope to see you guys soon in the next video. Peace.